please put down the spear.
It has been over 2 years since the cultural phenomenon known as Avengers Endgame was released to the public, so we won't blame you for not exactly remembering what went down throughout the duration of the Infinity Saga and the multitudes of other movies that went alongside it. However, there was one character that won the hearts of many ever since his first appearance in the movie Thor, as well as his recent appearance in his very own TV show. So, let us take a closer look at him. Avengers Infinity War and Endgame did an excellent job referring to the previous chapters of the MCU through the use of its Easter eggs and subtle references. Some of them go by so fast that if you weren't paying attention for a split second, you'd miss them. Who could blame them? They had to pay homage to a decade's worth of stories after all. Of course, Disney Plus's Loki is a completely different story, as it covers the God of Mischief's story in a completely different light. It's safe to say that Loki's appearance on the small screen got a lot of people thinking as to what exactly was going to be different this time around. As much as we love the Loki that we watched on the big screen, it is confirmed that he will be drastically different this time around. It does not take long for one to understand that this is a tale of two Lokis. The first Loki is the one that we've already seen the gradual evolution of, from his appearance in the Thor trilogy as well as the part he plays in the Avengers movies. The other Loki that we're going to see is the result of an accidental temporal intervention. The promise itself is unique and exciting, as it plans on turning everything that you believed in terms of the MCU upside down. First and foremost, before we delve into any further details regarding the new Loki, let us take a look at all the ways the two are similar. And in order to do that, we need to go all the way back to his first appearance in the MCU. Prime Loki. We get our first glimpse at Loki, portrayed by the devilishly handsome Tom Hiddleston in Kenneth Branagh's 2011 movie Thor. He was showcased as a sly and manipulative prince who still had loyalties that lay close to his home, Asgard. While Loki and Thor were brothers, it was clear that the two were not the closest, at least from the perspective of Loki. When Loki had to prepare himself to watch his brother Thor become ruler of Asgard and take over reign from their father Odin, Loki decided to sabotage the entire coronation by providing the Frost Giants an opportunity to break into Asgard.
Welcome to Asgard.
The Frost Giants are not really fans of Asgard, since it is a race that was defeated by Odin and left back in the ruins within the realm of Jotunheim a while back. While Loki's attempt to sabotage Thor's big day was purely down to jealousy, the whole process ended up with him discovering that something had changed his perspective in life significantly. He found out that he himself was a Frost Giant that was rescued by a baby from the Jotunheim battlefield by Odin as a beacon that will one day help forge peace between the Frost Giants and the Asgardians one day. This discovery broke Loki, as he always saw himself as Odin's least favorite son. The discovery caused Loki to connect what he'd just discovered to the trauma that he had as a child, causing him to see his entire past as just smoke and mirrors, lies and deceit. However, when Loki manipulates Thor and riles him up in order to start a fight with the Frost Giants, even after Odin forbade him to do so, Thor found himself banished to Earth. Loki used this as an opportunity to take control of the throne of Asgard, while Odin fell into his deep sleep. However, not everything went as Loki had planned. While he managed to rule Asgard for a while, the warriors Three and Sif disobeyed Loki and went back to Earth in order to bring Thor back. This caused things to fall apart, as Loki personally intervened and attacked Thor and the group in order to stop him from coming back from Asgard to ruin the world he has made for himself.
I never wanted the throne. I only ever wanted to be your equal. I will not fight you, brother! I'm not your brother. I never was.
However, Thor managed to stop Loki and made his way to Asgard. Thor and Loki fight as Odin eventually wakes up from his deep sleep. Odin's disappointment was immeasurable, and seeing that caused Loki to be hurt. Before he could be punished or asked to take accountability, Loki let himself fall off the broken Bifrost Bridge into a wormhole in space. Thor and many Asgardians believe that Loki died that day, but the reality was that Loki was still very much alive. When Loki made it to the other side of the wormhole, he found himself in Sanctuary, which is an asteroid field that was inhabited by a violent race named the Chitauri. However, Thanos' personal servant named the Other was also installed on Sanctuary, and he ended up giving Loki both a powerful scepter that contained the power of the Mind Stone with the mission of commanding the Chitauri army and one day invade Earth. In exchange for this, Loki was asked to seal the Tesseract, which is a cosmic cube that housed the Space Stone, in order to bring it back to Thanos. Because he feared Thanos' wrath, he complied with the request, as Loki made his way back to Earth in the 2012 Avengers movie. He found his way on Earth through a wormhole opening as he stole the cube from the grasps of S.H.I.E.L.D. He eventually used that power to open a larger wormhole over New York, starting the Chitauri invasion. Loki found himself beaten by the Avengers in the Battle of New York. He was scheduled to be brought back to Asgard as a prisoner along with the Tesseract that he stole, to be forever condemned to a cell in the dungeons. This is where the fork in Loki's destiny exists, within the MCU timeline and the new Disney Plus show. However, before we get into that, let us follow through with Loki's entire MCU storyline before the new TV show came out. The death of Loki, Infinity War timeline. After the events of Avengers, Loki found himself trapped in the Asgardian dungeons until his mother, Frigga, met her end by the hands of the Dark Elves in Thor: The Dark World. Loki was eventually released from his confines by Thor, as the two team up to try and defeat the Dark Elves' leader. Loki, in true God of Mischief fashion, faked his own death during the fight, using that as an opportunity to go back to Asgard and rule over it, disguising himself as Odin. However, following the events of Avengers: Age of Ultron, Thor ends up finding out Loki's deception when he makes it back to Asgard. The two end up going back to Earth in order to find the real Odin, who ends up revealing that they had a third sibling named Hela.
It's not impossible.
Darling, you have no idea what's possible.
However, Odin ends up dying, causing a very confused Thor and Loki to face Hela. However, their fight was just not enough, as Hela was powerful. Both Loki and Thor found themselves stranded on an artificial trash planet, Sakaar, in Thor: Ragnarok. During this time period, Loki joins forces with Thor, even though he did not cherish the thought of it. Both of them end up meeting Valkyrie and the Hulk as well, as they work together to defeat Hela. They manage to do this by summoning the fire demon Surtur.
You can't defeat me.
No, I know. But he can.
Who begins the all-cleansing process of Ragnarok. While they managed to win this way, the victory also caused the complete destruction of Asgard. Using the carnage as a distraction, Loki ends up stealing the Tesseract once more when no one was looking. Remember Loki's promise to the Other? Well, Thanos ended up coming on his own in order to look for the Tesseract during Infinity War, when Loki could not finish the job. The surviving Asgardians were cold as they tried to board an escape ship. Hulk and Thor attempted to fight Thanos, but it only resulted with Hulk growing unconscious and Thor being trapped by the Black Order. In an attempt to save himself, Loki did the unexpected. He tried to trick Thanos by offering up the Tesseract, all for an attempt on ending Thanos' life. However, he failed, and Thanos reacted by snapping Loki's neck, ending his life as we know it. Variant Loki, TV series timeline. Now, let us cover the recent development in the story of Loki. After Loki's death came a series of events that would haunt the surviving Avengers. Half of the universe was snapped out of existence, and Asgard was reduced to a tiny population that lived on Earth. Because of all of this, Thor fell into a deep depression. But in Avengers Endgame, the team got together to bring a plan into action, which included going back in time and retrieving the Infinity Stones, eventually reversing Thanos' snap. During this bizarre event, Tony, Steve, Bruce, and Scott found themselves traveling back to the Battle of New York that took place in 2012. The plan went off smoothly at first. Steve manages to find the Mind Stone in the form of Loki's scepter. Bruce manages to convince the Ancient One to hand over the Time Stone. Meanwhile, Tony and Scott made their way to Stark Tower to acquire the Tesseract. However, Tony made one single miscalculation. He forgot that he made the Hulk take the stairs instead of the elevator in the original timeline. When Hulk smashed through the lobby door, he caused Tony and the Tesseract to fly off. Loki used this opportunity to pick it up and jump through a wormhole. From here on out, it's a completely different version of Loki than the one that we saw in the movies. This was not the Loki that saw Asgard burn. This was not the Loki that helped his brother and redeemed himself in front of his eyes. This is a Loki that had just led a dangerous invasion of Earth. Loki's director, Kate Herron, explained her plans. With Loki taking the Tesseract, fans will see exactly what that action means and what a bigger ripple he's made in time doing that. It causes him to be more reflective about his actions and why he's done what he's done. After all, Loki has been responsible for many deaths, which includes Agent Phil Coulson right before the Battle of New York even started. As you can see, this version of Loki is still enraged after figuring out who he really was through Odin. The marketing materials that we use to promote the series show us that Loki will be apprehended by the Time Variance Authority, which is a bureaucratic organization that monitors the state of the MCU's timeline. However, what we do not know is how the show will try to redeem the God of Mischief from one of the lowest points in his life. However, the show promises to approach this in a different way than what we have ever seen before. This is good for his character, since it will be interesting to see Loki away from the villain stereotype that he was portrayed in the past movies. One of the writers of Loki, Michael Waldron, went ahead and described the show to be a struggle with identity for Loki's character, as he tries to figure out who he is and what he wants to be. So a reformed version of Loki is on the cards through this show. Waldron went on to say and elaborates that Loki is a character that's always reckoning with his own identity, and the TVA, by virtue of what they do, is uniquely suited to hold up a mirror to Loki and make him really confront who he is and what he is supposed to be. So far, we know that the TVA will end up recruiting Loki in order to clean up the temporal mess that he made when he took the Tesseract and ran off.
Here to talk about the Avengers.
Oh no?
No. What they did was supposed to happen. You escaping was not.
If you remember your Marvel knowledge, you should be able to recall how the Ancient One warned that any major disruption of the flow of time could create branch timelines where things go horribly wrong.
Remove one of the stones, and that flow splits. Now this may benefit your reality, but my new one, not so much.
Would Loki truly turn for the better and right his wrongs in the new series? Or will he go back to his roots and be the God of Mischief as he always has been? We're gonna have to wait and see. With that, we've reached the end of today's video. Are you excited about the new Loki TV series? Let us know in the comments below. And if you wish to see more videos like this, subscribe to our channel and press that bell button to get an update every single time we upload a new video. Make sure to like this video and share it with your friends and family. Thank you for watching, and see you all next time.